track day coming up, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm going to be going over the bike prep that I believe I need to do in order to get this bike ready to go onto a track. I just got in from my last little shakedown run wearing all my gear because I tried out a couple new things. I want to at least have a little bit of time in them, make sure everything works. The first thing I'm noticing is that I have way less feel when I'm wearing these boots and when I'm wearing these gauntlet gloves. That's going to be something to get used to. One other thing I noticed on this ride compared to my normal riding boots is that I think I've got to lower my shifter 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. It's too high. I'm stepping and I'm having to stomp down on it. Anyway, I put together a list based on recommendations I've seen on the subreddit Track Days and a couple other places. I've modified it a bit for my purposes, and I'll be going over those things now. The track organization, the Track Day organization I'm going to be riding with is Motovid, and they have their own set of rules. And then there's a whole lot of fill-in-the-blank parts that I just don't know yet. So I'm going to start taking this thing apart. Not apart. I'm going to start getting it ready. So this was sort of my last run because it will not be street legal after I start getting it ready.
All right, first step on my list was engine oil level, and my oil level was a little high, so I used this pump, shoved it down in there, and pulled some out. And now I think we're good to go. If I need to put a little bit more back in, I will have some with me. I'd like to eventually safety wire that, and I think this is the bolt here to do it too, but since I'm not required and I don't have a spare bolt to practice on, I will not be doing that right now. On to the tires. I put these tires on about 400 miles ago. These are Metzler M7 RRs. I decided to go against getting the Dunlop Q3 Pluses that were on it before because this is more like what I would actually ride on the road, and most of this is about getting some confidence under myself, and these things seemed like they'd be the right way to go for me, and they seem like they'll be all right. So tread and everything should all be good. So only a couple hundred miles there, and as you can see, this is brand new virgin rubber. It's never been touched before, and who knows if it will. But that's what we got for tires. So I mounted those things and balanced both of them using that Tusk balancer. I just set the pressures on both the rear and the front to 32 psi. Put a little air in that one, dropped air out of that one, checked it with my gauge. I expect I'll probably start out at 30-30. Once I'm there, it'll just be easier to drop a little air pressure out of them. Plus, yeah, that's what I'll be doing there. And then these wheel weights here, I need to grab my tape, and I need to tape over the wheel weights on this side. So I'll do that now. And that's it for the tires. Now onto the controls. What I'm looking at first is the throttle snapback. This thing needs to snap back on its own, or else it's a safety concern because it could just hang wide open. This thing's snapping back just fine. I've got the brake adjusted to the second most inner position for my tiny hands, and pivot's not moving at all. I did notice something on the left side here, on the clutch side, that's concerning to me, and that is when I move it, this pivot is moving with it, and that isn't good. So I need to get in here with a couple 10s. Righty tighty, Matt, you should figure that out. Snug this up. I don't know how snug I can get it. I don't think it'll actually affect the clutch pull. Nope, doesn't pull. Okay, so now it's not moving anymore. So we should be good on that one. And then additional controls, I lowered the brake pretty much as far as it goes. These aren't standard rear sets. These are moved back a little bit. Rear sets, these are moved back a little bit. I removed the rear spring. Ooh, that's another thing. I don't have that size wrench on me. I will get that, tighten that down. Yeah, I removed the rear brake light spring and brought this way down because where it was set before, I had to like step up to get onto it. And lastly, just earlier tonight with my boots on, I was realizing I was having to step way too far up to get a downshift going. And I lowered this 0.75 inches, which sounds like a big deal. And it was way better that way. So to do that, just loosen up these two nuts and you can twist it and it'll move this lever up and down. So that was the right move to give one last little quick ride and get this set in a much better spot so I'm not having to take my foot way off and, you know, stomp on it to get down a gear. This category is the electrical, and it's something I'm not willing to make any big switches on right now, or even just mess with it, because I don't know the bike well enough, and I could probably do more damage than I can do good, and it's been running pretty well. I do have this pigtail on here, so I will hook it up to a battery tender and make sure it's all charged up. I know it's an older battery. The battery is about 6 years old. It's been working all right, but it's 100% something I'm going to be replacing over the winter, just not something I need to replace this immediate moment. I have heard things about, I think it's a green clip issue, something that turns your SV650 into an SV325 if it gets wet, and the unfortunate part is that I have heard that there is rain in the forecast, so I'm not really thrilled about that, but I will do some more research on that if it's something I need to address. But the only thing I'm touching on the electrical for now, outside of the lights once I get there, is just going to make sure that the battery is charged up. I say 47 foot-pounds later, which is actually a mistake. These should be 28 foot-pounds on the front caliper mounting bolts. There. The 47 was in my head because that's what the rear and front axle are. So 28 on the front caliper bolts. For these front brakes on here, I know that these are Vestra pads that were put on. I'm just looking at the wear on them. The wear markers look fine. There's plenty of life left in them. I will be doing an entire service on these, probably replacing the pistons and just go through, grease everything, clean everything, get it all up there in the ultrasonic cleaner and clean them all up over the winter. But I think I'm good to go with these. They feel pretty darn good. I got stainless steel lines on that came with the bike, and I will be torquing these bolts down to 47 foot-pounds, the two caliper mounting bolts, with my torque wrench here. And I will do that on both the left and the right on the fronts, and I will be doing the same on the rear. The rear only has I think the rear's only got a rubber line, because the guy I bought it from says he doesn't use the rear brake, so I can appreciate that. I will check this one out as well, but it feels pretty darn good. One thing I am a little worried about, I'm looking at my level in the front master, and I don't see any air. I remember when I filled it, there was air, and once you put it in with the membrane and everything, there's nothing in there, which seems like it should be all right. But if you have to push those pistons back in, that fluid's got to go somewhere. It's got to go back out here. So now I'm kind of wondering, do I got to pull some fluid out of there? I think I probably will. I'm going to think on that while I get the fronts and the rear calipers torqued down to 47 foot-pounds and consider my other life choices. This is why I'm going to bring some extra brake fluid with me, because I'm going to take some out of here to get it below, because once this membrane, it pushes everything down a little bit. So let's, I don't even know how much to take out. What if I go to there? Where does that leave me? That should, oof, that's, shit, I kind of just screwed myself. I don't have a place to like put this. Can you stay real nice for me? Nice. Yes, you can. All right, so what happens if I put this back there? Okay, well now I can see it. It might not show on the camera, but I can see it's below the upper, at least right there, so I'm more comfortable passing the tech inspection with that. That should be okay. Now I'm moving on to the part that I am most confused about, and that is the chain. Specifically the chain tension. It's interesting because I've got it set what I thought was pretty loose right now, and the manual calls for put the bike on its side stand, so I figured it just wants the rear loaded with the weight of the bike, because that'll change the geometry of it, could change the chain tension on it. And actually I rode this out to my parents and my dad. One of the first things he says after he said he really actually likes this bike, he's like, your chain looks really loose. And you know, I was like, yeah, you know what, you're right. So it says in the manual I need 0.8 to 1.2 inches of travel, and I look around and I find the tight spot. Well, I just put it on the thing, so the tightest spot is here. So what I'm looking for, and I've watched those Dave Moss videos, what I want to do is raise it until this top starts moving up. So once I go to here, once I hit this point, if I push past it, that doesn't count, because it's raising up the top. So when I put a ruler to it, what I'm seeing, let's see, how did I have that before? Yeah, that's what I was doing. Okay, so I'm watching and I'm right at 9, and I lift, and then I'm right at, well, that was 7/8 of travel. So if anything, I'm on the tight side there. So I might have been running my entire life with chains too tight, and apparently so has my father. So I don't think I'm going to change this, because that's 9 right there, and then 8 and 1/8. So I've got 7/8 inch of travel, which falls into that spot, and I think this is good. I hope. So I've got the tools if I got to back it out, but wheel looks straight to me. When I originally set this, line the thing up. So now what I've got to do, got my little bucket of kerosene. And honestly, this chain doesn't need cleaning because I did it like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to do it again just to be diligent. Clean it up with the old brush and the kerosene, and then relube with my 80W90 gear oil, because as I mentioned in another video, I kind of became a convert after watching that Fortnite video about when he compares all the different chain lubricants. So that's the thing I'm most thinking I'm going to get dinged for when it comes to inspection, is where that chain is. It seems too loose to me, but what I'm reading is I'm on the tight end. So that's where I'm leaving it. Okay, I got one more category of things I'm going to look at before I've got the track day specific stuff, and that is suspension. And this is where I'm very lost. I don't have a whole lot of suspension knowledge. This bike does have it's had some work done to the front end. So the front end has 10-weight fluid in it, and it's got the cartridge emulators in it, and he did swap out, because this year didn't come with the preload adjusters. I've got the preload adjusters. From what I see, the preload adjusters are all the way out, and they are even. It's got 0.90 sonic springs in it, which were actually too light for the guy, but they actually line up with exactly my weight. I don't know what a bike is supposed to feel like. This feels better than any bike I've ever been on, front end, rear end, etc. So I'm not going to touch it yet. I know there's videos and stuff that tell you what to do, but I'm not certain how to do it. This is where I've been comfortable with the bike so far, and I will adjust from here. It looks like all I can do is add preload to it. It already feels stiff to me. So it's 0.90 sonic springs in there, and that's for a 160-pound person, I think, and that's roughly what I am. So I don't think I'm going to change those. I've got I can see, well, this is driving around with potholes and shit, and I can see I'm using most of the travel. I've got the zip tie set up, so I will move this down at the track day, and we will see how this moves up and down to how much travel I'm actually using. And then I can also feel that these are bone fucking dry, so I'm not losing anything from the fork seals, so the fork seals are good. So that's good news. So with the front end, at least I feel comfortable I'm going to be able to adjust it. The rear end, which was the expensive part of this bike, here's what I wrote. Rear suspension, pretend that you know things. I don't know anything, but this is a much different rear end that comes stock on this bike. So this has a Penske 8983 2-clicker on it. So I'm able to adjust compression and rebound, and also set the preload on here. And with the preload, you need a funny little stick, and that little stick is in here. I'm not going to touch this thing either. I know this is set up for somebody that's heavier than me, but if I see somebody at the track or something that can help me with this, you cannot set the sag yourself, and I don't know how to set the rebound and compression. I've watched a bunch of those Dave Moss videos. I don't feel comfortable trying to figure that out myself, because I don't even know what I'm feeling yet. So if I get the opportunity, once I get a couple miles under me, so I'm actually able to give some decent feedback, because if I gave it now, I'd just be garbage in, garbage out. If I can give some decent feedback, then I can figure out how to have this suspension tuned. So I know there's about 7,000 miles, according to the previous owner, on this shock. So that's what I'm looking at for the suspension. So, all right, it's the next day, and the nervousness is really starting to hit me because of the weight of the whole thing. Plus, I saw there's supposed to be about an inch of rain in the forecast tomorrow.
despite it being like 75 and beautiful today. So going over the regulations of from Motovid, need to have sturdy controls, handlebars, clip-ons, foot pegs, levers, we checked that. Relatively new brake pads, we checked that. Tires no more than 30% wear, these are pretty new. Tape the mirrors, blinkers, taillights, headlight, or remove completely. So I've removed the reflectors, and I've gone through with my blue painter's tape, and I have taped up all of the lights here and here. I don't think I gotta do this one because I'm gonna pull the fuses. Anyway, I gotta pull my license plate off, and then we're going to disconnect some of the lights. I lied. It's actually 3 clips. It's 2 of these guys, and then this main one. This would connect. This will do all the brake light stuff. So now that those are off, all the lights are disabled in the back. So for the mirrors that I got to pull off, take this piece out with a 3mm Allen, and then the mirrors themselves are held on by 2 6mm Allen bolts. I'll pull those out, and then I think I got to zip tie the fairing piece up here so it doesn't wobble around. Like what I actually got to do is zip tie here. I will clip that one, and then in order to secure the windscreen, I actually got to put this piece back on because this will tighten down through. I think that's the way to go. Well, that's it. That is everything on my list. The last thing is to do up the kickstand, and the rules packet says there will be ties there, so I assume somebody can help me figure out what to do with that, or I just pull it off. It's pretty easy to pull the thing off, so God, I'm nervous. I really wish it wasn't gonna rain. Now I gotta get it into the truck, pack it. Unfortunately, it won't fit into the garage. I gotta figure out how to button it down, so last big thing for today before pacing all around and trying to go through everything else is get it in there. Oh my God, I gotta find a better way of doing that.